Let me guess, you're maxed out. You feel like every single hour is accounted for, your to-do list is overflowing, and just thinking about adding something else like fitness feels impossible. If that's where you're at, you are in the right place, my friend. My name is Lindsey. I'm one of the head coaches and the co-founders at The Fitness Project, where we build fit, healthy leaders. Now, what that means is that we work with executives, entrepreneurs, and business leaders who, like you, have a lot on their plate. And what we specialize in is teaching them how to weave in fitness and health to become a core part of what they do every day. It becomes a new standard, a way of life. And the reason that this is so essential for them is because it gives them more life. It gives them more energy, more confidence. And it gives them those desires like having a body they feel comfortable in, having routines that give them stability. And it makes them so much better as leaders. Now, if that sounds enticing to you and you love to be able to get there, this is the perfect video for you to start with, because I'm going to give you 3 different powerful ways that you can increase your capacity and therefore manage pressure without letting your health fall to the back burner. Something that we tell our clients all the time at the Fitness Project is that stress is the perception that the demands on you are greater than your capacity to manage them. Think of it like an equation. Stress equals demands greater than capacity. Now, if this is true, and this equation is a consistent law, well then when we're stressed, we really only have 2 options. We can either decrease the demands, maybe through delegation, automating some things, or maybe even eliminating, saying no to some things, or we can increase our capacity. Now, if you are a leader in any realm, whether you're an entrepreneur, executive, or a manager, what have you, sometimes you can't decrease the demands. Sometimes you're just in a pressure cooker and you got to learn how to deal with it. And a lot of times when we have to deal with it, if we don't increase our capacity, then we tend to fall into a few different categories or maybe patterns with that stress. Either we just live in that chronic state of stress where we're so tense and we're not sleeping and we're not taking care of ourselves, and we just wait for the day it subsides. We wait for the vacation, or we wait for taxes to complete, or we wait for what have you, some type of relief. Second pattern, in those busy seasons, we cut out everything that would be good for us. And we just go down to survival mode, where we just wake up, work, take the family wherever they need to go, try our best to get food into our body at some points in time, and we just feel like crap during that season, if we're being honest. Third pattern we fall into is when you're in that intense stress, all you want is relief, so you end up going into what I call autopilot. And that's where you just numb out, you disconnect. You aren't engaged with your life, with the people you love. You're just going through the motions, trying to make it through. Now, if you're watching this, I know that those 3 patterns are not enough for you. They're not the way that you want to live your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video trying to find other perspectives or ways that you can handle stress and still take care of yourself. And you know that that's not giving the best of you to those around you, and that's important. So really, in this situation, if we're thinking of that equation of stress equals demands greater than capacity, if we can't decrease the demands, the only option that's realistic is to increase our capacity for how we're managing that stress and pressure. Now, how do we do that? As I said, I'm going to give you 3 ways, 3 different ways that are powerful. Sometimes some of them are mindset shifts, some of them are behavior shifts, and you can absolutely utilize at least one and get more capacity than you would have had otherwise. I apply these personally myself, and I've also seen them work in the lives of hundreds of clients at this point. So it's not just hearsay, it's experiential, and I've seen it replicated. Number 1, if you want to expand your capacity and lead yourself, even when stress is high, you need to think of your health as a real investment. With a financial investment, You're going to seek wise counsel. You're not just going to invest wherever. You're going to seek someone who can actually teach it to you, whether it's a book or a mentor or a coach. You're going to have some wise counsel that's going to guide you. So you're not going to fly by the seat of your pants and pour your money into something that you know nothing about. You're going to have wise counsel. So start applying and thinking of some of these principles when it comes to your health. You don't want to think of your health as something that you're just passively a consumer of. Therefore, it just deteriorates over time. You want to think of it as an investment, something that you are enriching yourself with, something you're pouring into, even in small ways that are sustainable over time. Because your health is the greatest investment you can make. Because when you are unhealthy, the only thing in the world that matters to you is your health. Think of how you feel when you're extremely sick, or think of someone who's in their 80s or 90s who can't take care of themselves, and therefore they're a burden on everyone around them. Think of that and apply it to yourself now. Make your health a real investment, something that you will put your time, your energy, your money into. You'll seek wise counsel. You'll make small contributions over time. And when you can, you'll make bigger hits. You'll invest more in it when you do have that time, but you're not going to just pretend it doesn't exist and hope it gets better, right? Health is not going to get better unless you actually see it as an investment, something you're putting effort or resources into. So that's the first thing. Second way to increase your capacity is to add stillness to a very overstimulated lifestyle. Most entrepreneurs and executives, most high achievers really, are constantly stimulated, which means they are productive. They're always looking for more to do. They're constantly in front of screens. There's always another task. And in the short run, that's not a bad thing. A lot of people actually find significance and value in being productive. But if you're constantly stimulated, you never get time to recover. And if you're constantly stimulated, think about a battery in a camera or your cell phone. If it's constantly on and you are constantly swiping through apps, how quickly would that die? But we don't see ourselves as that. We think that we just have this unending capacity, and also our emotions get mixed in because we're actually quite uncomfortable with stillness. We don't want to be alone with our thoughts or do things like meditation or yoga or things that go for a walk, right? Things that would bring us stillness and calm. Now, for me personally, I build stillness into my calendar, which might sound counterintuitive, but I intentionally carve space for stillness. Every morning I take a walk without listening to a podcast or music or stimulating myself while I'm trying to be calm. I pray, I meditate, and I don't do all of the things every day, but I carve out space every day for stillness. I leave my phone on the charger for the first 2 hours of my day. I make sure that I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I close my laptop, ideally before 8 p.m. Sometimes it can seep in, right? I'm not perfect. But incorporating stillness in your day, it sounds small and maybe even uncomfortable or silly or useless, but what it does is it recalibrates your mind. It helps you get in touch with where you're actually at, which is essential if you want to do part 3 of this, or the third way to increase your capacity. But I'll get to that in a moment. What stillness does is it recalibrates your mind. So if you really want to think clearly, if you want to be more creative, if you want to have more energy, or even just have healthier behavior, right? Healthier habits, healthier choices, you have to create less stimulation. You have to reduce stimulation. And that is where stillness is your friend. So even if it's 5 minutes a day, even if it's a small short walk, incorporate intentionally stillness into your day. It'll make a huge difference, even if it's just, again, a couple minutes in the car by yourself. Do it for yourself every day, and you'll watch how that compounds over time. The third way to increase your capacity as a high performer, where you're not putting your health on the back burner and you are taking care of you, is to respect your stress. What do I mean by this? Respect your stress means that you actually are going to see your stress as a measurement tool that tells you where you're at, maybe mentally or emotionally or physically. See your stress as something that can be measured and therefore managed. Think about it. I'll give you a couple of examples. If you have a day where, let's say your stress hits like a 10 out of 10, and you're aware that that is peak, and you see that and you ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do to bring that stress back down to a manageable level? And then you go and you do that thing, like get a workout in or do some yoga or go to bed early, whatever. You're going to be able to recover from that day. Whereas if you're just not paying attention at all and you assume like the day is just going to come as it goes, blah, 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 and you never interject or interrupt the pattern, well then if you have multiple days or multiple weeks where stress is a 10 out of 10, your body is going to start to give out on you. Your hormones will be in the gutter. Your energy will be in the gutter. You will not be able to sleep. You'll probably put on weight like a crazy person. And that's all because you did not respect your stress or see it as a tool, something that can tell you, give you insights into where you are and what you need. Imagine that your stress starts to get pretty high throughout the day. Maybe you have a stressful experience, but it's only one. So maybe your stress is like a 6 out of 10. Well, if you notice that your stress is a 6 out of 10, you're like, okay, I need to kind of keep it here. We don't need to take any more time. Maybe you go for a walk and you bring your stress down to like a 4. And then you have another stressful experience and then your stress goes back to maybe a 6. And you're like, man, another challenge, another fire. And you think, okay, well, I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm just going to make myself some lunch, kind of relax for a second. Stress comes back down to a 4. Well, that's probably a day it's pretty easy to recover from. You'll probably get out of work that day and be like, phew, that was a day. But you won't be exhausted. Whereas again, if you're not paying attention and you wake up and your stress is already a 4, and then you get to work and something stressful comes up and then it's a 6, and then you don't really do anything about it and you're like, oh my gosh, why can't this day just end? Then you're to an 8, then you're to a 10, then you're turning to anything you can at the end of the day to calm yourself down. And that tends to be a few glasses of wine, eating a bunch of food, and maybe watching TV, none of which actually recharge you or give you more life for the next day. They're just coping mechanisms that force you to relax. You're taking the quick way to relaxation. Whereas if you just saw that stress and managed it throughout the day as it went up and down, you would be much more healthy. And your body wouldn't get the brunt of that stress, which is really important when you think of how that compounds over the years. Now, in summary, number 1, if you want to increase your capacity, make your health a real investment. Invest in wise counsel, invest in support, and then make contributions in small ways rather than feeling like you have to wait until you have X amount of money to put into your investments. Think of it as putting small contributions in over time. Second, add stillness to this overstimulated life. Reduce the stimulation down. And third, use your stress as a signal. Use your stress as a measurement tool to inform you of what you should do next. Again, for me personally, I use these all the time. I try to make sure I don't get to a 10 out of 10 stress day. And if I do, I'll make sure that I properly recover from that day, seeing it as I did the most intense workout yesterday mentally. Okay, I need to take care of my body and my mind and my heart today. And if you really see these and incorporate them into your own life, what you're going to see is that you might be a little bit uncomfortable at first. I'll be honest. If you have gotten used to running yourself on all cylinders, going at less, you might start to think that you're being lazy, that you're not working hard enough, that there's not enough hours in the day. You will face resistance around this, but what you're actually going to see is that you have so much more bandwidth than you thought you did. Your fuels will be longer. You will have more patience. You'll have a higher level of creativity, and you will start to feel like a much better leader, both of yourself and of the people around you, just because you're healthier, your mind is clearer, you have more energy, and therefore you have more confidence. It's a ripple effect, and it does compound over time. So do this for yourself. Find simple ways that you can implement at least one, if not all, of these principles to increase your capacity. And most importantly, if you're feeling pressure, don't run away from it. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'll figure it out later. That's a lie. You have to interject and interrupt the pattern now in order to feel better later. It's not going to work in the reverse effect. So give yourself the opportunity to implement these tools, and you will see, again, making that small investment in your health, adding 2 minutes of stillness in your day, or even pausing and asking yourself, what's this stress trying to tell me? Where are my stress levels at? Will make a massive difference. And if you want support with actually implementing these things, that structure, that strategy, really pulling this into your life, you know where to find us. You can click any of the buttons in the description below to find our free Facebook group, to schedule a consultation with myself or any of us at the Fitness Project. But just make sure that your next step is building this internal strength, not letting stress run your life or run the show. You're stronger than that, you're better than that, and you have more control over this than you really think that you do. That said, I hope that you use these tools and you go out and conquer your day. Cheers. See you soon.